202 correspondents from many nations gather at the State Department in Washington, D.C. to attend President John F. Kennedy's news conference. Here on April 21st, 1961, is President Kennedy's 10th question and answer meeting with the press.
Gentlemen, I have several announcements to make. I know that many of you have further questions about Cuba. I made a statement on that subject yesterday afternoon. We are continuing consultations with other American republics. Active efforts are being made by ourselves and others in behalf of various individuals, including any Americans who may be in danger. I do not think that any useful national purpose would be served by my going further into the Cuban question this morning. I prefer to let my statement of yesterday suffice for the present. I am pleased to announce that the United States has offered concrete support to a broad-scale attack by the United Nations upon world hunger. I have instructed the Food for Peace Director to offer $40 million in food commodities towards an initial United Nations reserve of $100 million. This will be administered by the United Nations Food and Agricultural Operation. I am informed that other United Nations members will also make similar contributions. The food will then be used to relieve hunger and to improve nutrition in underdeveloped countries of the world. Our participation in this project will complement, rather than diminish, our existing Food for Peace program. Third, I'm pleased to announce that the Veterans Administration will pay a special insurance dividend of $230 million, and the decision made this morning to approximately 5 million holders of GI life insurance beginning July 1st. These dividends have been speeded up in order to assist the economy. And lastly, I'm pleased to announce that the Peace Corps is proceeding with its first project at the request of the government of Tanganyika, an African country that will gain its first independence on December 28th. The Peace Corps will send to that country a party of surveyors, geologists, and civil engineers to help Tanganyika's own technicians map and construct roads. 20 surveyors, 4 geologists, and 4 civil engineers will provide some of the skills needed to accelerate the development plan. There's nothing more important in Tanganyika than the development of roads to open up the country, and I'm delighted that some Americans have volunteered to help in this important effort.
President, can you tell us anything about your talk with Vice President Nixon last night?
Vice President came to the White House at my invitation, and I informed him of and brought him up to date on the events of the past few days.
Mr. President, can you tell us the status of the mid-April economic review you promised?
Yes, I stated at a previous conference at the end of or mid-April, I think 75 days, we were going to undertake a review of the economy. That is now underway under the direction of Dr. Heller, and I hope when that survey is completed that we will have a statement to make on it.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Quite respecting your feeling of not going beyond your statement of yesterday on Cuba, there still is in print this morning, quite widely distributed, published report that you took the decision to continue training Cuban refugees with arms provided by this government and for releasing ships and fuel for launching the current operations in Cuba. And furthermore, this report says that you reached this decision against the advice of Secretary Rusk and Mr. Bowles. Now, is this true?
I think that the facts of the matter involving the Cuban will come out in due time, and I'm sure that an effort will be made to determine the facts accurately. As for me, I'm confining myself to my statement for good reason. Yeah?
This is not a question about Cuba, it's a question about Castro. Could you tell us whether any intelligence that you have received can shed any light on the reports that the Prime Minister has been incapacitated, that he has not been heard from since Monday or Tuesday, or reports to that effect?
No, I cannot. I saw some, I think reference was on the ticket this morning that Mr. Castro was seeing some members of the press today, so I suppose we will have a better idea of that later on.
President.
Ms. Craig?
Mr. President, the leaders of House and Senate Republicans told us yesterday at press conference that they are setting up special study committees on the effect of automation and technological improvements in agriculture as well as industry. Are you hoping that your Democrats in Congress will set up similar study committees? Do you need them?
Well, I do think that on the Subcommittee on Labor, a subcommittee headed by Congressman Hollander of Pennsylvania has been conducting studies on the effect of automation for some months. In regard to the effect of automation on agriculture, I think it is some of our the most serious problems which have arisen in agriculture have been because of research combined with automation, which have brought an extraordinary increase in production with far less manpower. So that I know that this problem is a matter of substantial concern to all of us. I'm glad that the Republicans are conducting this study, because I think all the attention we can get by both parties into what I consider to be a genuine national problem, automation, what happens to the people who are thrown out of work, I think will be most useful. And agriculture, where we have a great increase in production with around 4 million people less than we had some years ago. In many ways, it's one of the most extraordinary and admirable facets of our national life. I think it's unfortunate that we're not able to bring it more to the attention of the world, where so many people, including in the Soviet Union and in China, are spending most of their time on subsistence agriculture, that we're able to have this extraordinary production with very few people. But like all blessings, they bring problems with them, and I'm glad they're conducting the study.
President.
And then I'll go with that.
President, at your last news conference, you expressed hope that the Soviets would agree within a few days to a ceasefire in Laos. More than a week has gone by since then, and the Soviets have not agreed yet. Could you tell us how much longer you will wait before contemplating other kind of action?
I understand that the British and the Soviets are conferring at the present time, using it in a general sense, and we are hopeful that a ceasefire can be obtained in Laos.
Mr. President,
we continue to be hopeful. Yeah.
Mr. Nixon on the Ev and Charlie show yesterday said that he was going to give you 10 days grace to produce on your campaign promises that certain things would be done by 90 days. Did he go into this or other domestic politics in your White House meeting?
No, there was nothing stated about on politics. Mr. Nixon and I discussed matters of national concern, and it was done in a wholly non-political way. Mr. Nixon's response was most helpful.
Mr. President,
I wonder if you will tell us what your grounds, your investigations of the Major General Ted Walker incident in Europe, if you will please tell us what grounds you found for relieving him of his command for allegedly teaching troops anti-communist doctrine.
When I saw the stories in regard to the things which had been said, or at least alleged to have been said, in regard to General Walker, I called Secretary McNamara and asked him to investigate it. Secretary McNamara then, I believe, suspended General Walker, and my term may not be precise, pending a completion of the investigation. But no decision has been made in regard to General Walker until the investigation has been completed to find out exactly what was going on. I do not believe that Secretary McNamara took even that limited action, however, merely because he felt that General Walker was talking against the communists. That was not the grounds for concern. But no final decision, to the best of my information, has been made on the matter of General Walker. He will be given every opportunity, and those who have been critical of him will be given every opportunity to present their case. And a final decision will then be made by Mr. McNamara, who will then bring the matter to my attention, and I will then review it.
Mr. President.
Without prejudice to General Walker.
Mr. President.
Oh, yes, excuse me, sir.
Thank you.